Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Ofonono Joseph, coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. This is Spotlight Africa, brought to you by Spectrum Television. Today on Spotlight Africa, South African president fires education minister accused of graft. Rwanda's president Kagame sacks prime minister, appoints banker instead. Libyan Prime Minister Mbeiba condemns dire conditions in Gaza during meeting with U.S. officials. DRC signs peace deal with M23 rebels, but experts in North Kivu remain skeptical. Plus, Egypt government scheme offers free train rides home to Sudanese refugees. These stories are all just ahead on Spotlight Africa. Good afternoon to you and many thanks for joining us on Spotlight Africa. We begin Spotlight Africa from Rwanda was, however, promptly replaced as Kagame appointed Deputy Governor of the National Bank of Rwanda, Justin Nsengiyumva, as new Prime Minister in a statement published on social media platform X on Wednesday in response to an earlier publication by Rwanda Government Communications announcing his appointment. Nsengiyumva pledged to serve Rwanda with humility and dedication. His predecessor had been in office since July 2017 and was the country's 11th prime minister since its independence. No reason In another development, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has dismissed his embattled higher education minister weeks after a key party in his unity government filed criminal charges accusing her of lying to Parliament. Ramaphosa has faced mounting pressure in recent months as several ministers from his African National Congress ANC party have been accused of corruption, deepening tensions within the 10-party ruling coalition. Recall that the second largest group in government, the Democratic Alliance, DA, earlier this month filed a complaint accusing Minister Nobule Nkwabane of lying to Parliament to cover up the corruption and mismanagement, has said graft had become standard practice under Ramaphosa Operation Bill. The legislation had caused political deadlock between the ruling party, the African National Congress, and its biggest coalition partner, the Democratic Alliance. This had substantially delayed the bill. The appropriation bill is the third major part of the annual budget and determines how much money is allocated to government departments and national programs. Away from that, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki has issued a warning to neighboring Ethiopia, cautioning against the possibility of renewed conflict as tensions escalate in the Horn of Africa. Relations between the two countries have remained fragile since Eritrea gained independence from Ethiopia in 1993. A bloody border war from 1998 to 2000 left tens of thousands dead, and although a peace agreement was signed in 2018, mistrust between the nations has persisted. According to the Eritrean government, the latest strain in ties stems from Ethiopia's renewed focus on securing access to a seaport, a long-standing strategic objective for the landlocked country. In remarks directed at Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed President Afwerki warned that Eritrea would not be easily overpowered by Ethiopia's far larger population, estimated at 130 million, compared to Eritrea's 3.5 million. The Eritrean leader emphasized his country's readiness to defend itself if necessary. While there is currently no clear sign of imminent military action, observers note that the region's violent history and unresolved disputes make the situation highly sensitive. International attention is focused on preventing a repeat of past violence and promoting dialogue between the two sides. The Horn of Africa remains a complex and strategically vital region where stability continues to be challenged by geopolitical rivalries and long-standing grievances. Elsewhere, the assurance given by the Senegalese president have failed to ease tensions at the top of the country. Bassirou Diomaye Faye may have felt that there was no problem with his prime minister, but Ousmane Sonko's criticism continued to fuel controversy. Supporters of the head of government continue to denounce the president's attitude, with some going as far as to remind him that he owes his presidency to Ousmane Sonko. They do not hesitate to express scathing criticism, whether on social media or in various media outlets. On the other hand, people close to the president are trying to defuse the bomb, like the head of state himself, who said he still considered Ousmane Sonko to be his friend. This episode has put Pastef under pressure and raised a few questions about the relationship between the two men. Some believe that divorce is just around the corner. In any case, the Prime Minister and the President no longer seem to be living in blissful love. In a speech on 10 July, Ousmane Sonko argued that Senegal had one problem: a lack of authority. He even spoke of an absence of authority, implying that he did not have enough powers to govern. Meanwhile, Libya on Wednesday denounced the dire conditions in the Gaza Strip during a meeting with U.S. officials in Tripoli. Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Adbayabu Deiba met with Massad Boulos, the U.S. Senior Advisor for Africa and Senior Advisor to the President on Arab and Middle Eastern Affairs. In a statement released by Libya's internationally recognized government, Deiba said he condemned what he called the crimes, starvation, and ongoing aggression being perpetrated against the Palestinian people in Gaza. Experts say Gaza is at severe risk, and due to Israel's blockade and offensive launch in response to the attack by Hamas on October 7, 2023. In a separate development, weeks after signing a peace deal with Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo has reached an accord with M23 rebels operating in the country's North Kivu region. But long-time observers of the DRC's attempts to restore peace within its borders are not ready to celebrate. Following an initial peace deal with Rwanda last month, the DRC signed a ceasefire agreement with M23 rebels on Saturday in Qatar. In the statement of intent, the parties agreed to protect civilians and respect Congolese sovereignty, but on the ground in Goma, provincial capital of North Kivu and under the control of Kigali-backed insurgents, observers are skeptical for Congolese journalist and Pan-African civil rights activist Modest Salome Ekila. This latest agreement is reminiscent of many others that raised hopes when they were signed but were trampled underfoot on the altar of the interests of each stakeholder. Away from that, hundreds of people gathered at Cairo's Central train station on Monday to start the journey back home to war-torn Sudan. The travel is part of a campaign by the Egyptian government providing free train rides back to Khartoum, the capital, which has been recently recaptured by Sudanese armed forces from its rival, the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. Sudan has experienced a civil war since April 2023. The battle for power between the military and the RSF has caused one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. Over 40,000 people have been killed, and the war has caused one of the world's largest displacement crises. People have already started returning back to the capital as it slowly rebuilt since its recapture a couple of months ago. Egypt hosts the largest number of Sudanese refugees from the war, with over 1.5 million people fleeing across to its border. Let's take a breather, and when we return, we bring you China ships 31 electric mining trucks to Africa for Zambian copper mine. Stay tuned for this and more. With us. Now to the concluding part of our story. In another development, Russia and Mozambique have reaffirmed their defense relations during a visit from the African country's foreign minister, Mario Lucas, to Moscow. Lucas expressed concern over the ongoing war in Ukraine, but praised the resilience of the Russian people. She said Mozambique had been following the situation closely and that her country would like for the matter to be resolved in a peaceful way. The foreign minister also stressed the war's impact on food security in Africa, adding that her visit to Moscow allowed her Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, to proclaim his country's commitment to provide defense assistance to Mozambique. Elsewhere, China sent a fleet of 31 pure electric mining trucks to Africa on Sunday for use in copper mining projects in Zambia. The trucks are provided by Breton Technology, a Chinese high-tech company specializing in green construction machinery. They will be used by an African branch of China's state-owned company, 15th Metallurgical Construction Group. Breton Technology is responsible for providing a zero-carbon mining robot system, including electric vehicles, autonomous driving, and clean energy technologies. The mining trucks are expected to reach Durban. China has pledged $5 billion to Zambia's mining industry by 2031, despite controversies surrounding the environmental and social-owned mines. Moving now to Kenya, where outspoken activist Boniface Mwangi has dismissed the government's attempt to link him to anti-government protest, calling it a weak and desperate move to silence dissent. Mwangi appeared in court on Monday, charged with unlawful possession of ammunition, a case stemming from his alleged role in the youth-led demonstrations that have gripped the country for months. The charge sheet accused Mwangi of illegally calling them fabricated. The Kenya Human Rights Commission also condemned the case of a trumped-up accusation. Mwangi was released on bond shortly after the hearing. Outside the court, he delivered a defiant message to journalists, calling President William Ruto a real terrorist. The arrest follows a raid on Mwangi's home over the weekend, during which his wife, Njeri Mwangi, said security agents seized electronic devices and spoke of terrorism and arson. Many had feared Mwangi would be charged with terrorism. In court, Mwangi distanced himself from organizing the recent protest, crediting young Kenyans, the so-called Gen Z movement, with leading the charge. Meanwhile, preparations to host African Nations Championship CHAN across 3 East African countries are at an advanced stage ahead of its official kickoff on August 2nd. Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda are co-hosting the event. Salim Mvurya, the Kenyan Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sport, says his country is raring to go. Confirming the preparedness of the host countries, Mosengo Omba, the General Secretary of the Confederation of African Football, said that it is all systems go for the tournament. During CAF's final inspection of sports facilities in Kenya, the General Secretary praised the effort shown by the 3 host countries. The hospitality industry is also looking forward to the tournament, with a number of tourists expected to flock the host countries. The Moroccan government is investing in training young people in the country's traditional handicrafts to ensure the ancient skills do not die out. At the Traditional Craft Center in the Moroccan city of Saleh, trainees work with patience, precision, and a passion for their trade. The center opened in 2012 to keep heritage crafts alive. Alal Lobak is a reed artisan and instructor at the center. The center offers courses in 12 crafts including wood carving and leather work. It welcomes about 500 trainees a year and encourages women to participate. This has been Spotlight Africa, brought to you by Spectrum Television. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. I am